I had promised myself that I would not do another childcare manhwa, but at this point, I cannot help but just contradict myself every single time. So for the millionth time, here is another childcare manhwa for you all. So without further delay, let's begin our recap. The manhwa opens with a voice addressing His Majesty as the elder brother. The speaker presents a journal that records Maxon's language habits and politely asks whether he would like to read it. This dignified elder brother is none other than the Emperor of the Empire. At the same time, the female protagonist remarks that the same situation applies to the other sibling as well, informing a certain man that if he reads the journal, he will discover that Marin struck a boy. That boy is John, the captain of the Knights of the Great Temple. It is already the 10th time such an incident has occurred. Both men state firmly that there can be no excuses for what has happened. The female protagonist requests that they please raise their heads, explaining that only then can they proceed with a proper parent-teacher conference. The youngest captain of the Great Temple Knights, a man whom even high nobles cannot easily confront, and the Emperor, the very sky of the Empire, are formidable figures. Yet even they are no exception when standing before Efna Belchester, the homeroom teacher of the Sunlight class at Rondel Kindergarten. Efna is a kindergarten teacher at the prestigious Rondel Kindergarten, and despite the overwhelming authority of the two men before her, she maintains her composure. Efna is also a transmigrator who finds herself inside the world of novel. Within her class, the Sunlight class, a beautiful young girl approaches her. This girl is Marin, the heroine of the original story and the youngest daughter of the High Priest. Efna warmly greets Marin. On the other side stands the Imperial Prince, Maxon, the male lead of the original work. The classroom is filled with second-generation heirs of the most prestigious families in the Empire. Efna asks her students who would like to sing together with her, and all of them eagerly respond that they would. If only that were the entirety of their worries, how peaceful it would be. This world is the setting of a novel, and its introduction unfolds in contradiction to what Efna remembers. In the original version, Marin looks forward to her debut at the age of 18. At 18, Marin heads toward a terrace, where she meets Maxon for the first time. Their first encounter does not take place when they are 5-year-olds in kindergarten. The original storyline is not merely twisted, it is completely shattered. Efna chooses kindergarten teaching, the same job she held in her previous life, simply to make a living. She cannot afford to treat it lightly, so she devotes herself wholeheartedly to her work. Because of her dedication, this kindergarten grows into the finest educational institution in the Empire. No one could have predicted that the protagonist of the novel would meet so quickly within its walls. One day, Marin becomes so excited that she accidentally bumps into Maxon. Maxon reacts by calling her stupid. Marin interprets the word as an insult and retaliates by hitting him. As the two children begin fighting, Efna attempts to calm them, but she realizes that the situation is not easily resolved. These small children pull at one another with more efficiency than any adult quarrel. Efna steps between them and reminds them that fighting is unacceptable. For this reason, the story returns to the present. Efna greets both guardians and thanks them for agreeing to attend this meeting. She introduces herself as the children's homeroom teacher and addresses the guardians formally. John clarifies that he is Marin's elder brother and tells her that she may speak comfortably. However, one man is the Emperor, and the other is the captain of the Knights. Efna wonders how she is supposed to speak comfortably in front of such figures. Outwardly, she first expresses her gratitude to both of them for coming. The Emperor remarks that, since he has been summoned all the way here, he hopes the matter is worthwhile. Efna feels as though she is being crushed beneath their presence, yet she refuses to retreat. She decides to get straight to the point. She explains that at this age, children are very active. As their large muscles develop, they naturally move around frequently. She mentally recalls her strategy for handling meetings with guardians flexibly. First, lay the groundwork. Second, lay the groundwork. Third, lay the groundwork. Reassuring the guardians that there is no major problem with their child must always come first. Although she claims she will get straight to the point, her introduction becomes rather lengthy. She explains that because children at this age are energetic, they sometimes fail to control their strength and accidentally hurt other children. The Emperor questions whether someone truly dared to lay hands on a member of the imperial family. John responds that it seems the young prince is quite mischievous. The Emperor scoffs and remarks that if someone were to die for insulting the imperial family, his younger brother would be saddened. John counters that the people of the Empire would be saddest, as it would be an unjust death. The Emperor states that there has never been a precedent of anyone insulting the imperial family and surviving. questioning how that could be considered unjust. John remarks that it is pitiful if the imperial house cannot even accept the smallest criticism. Efna begins to regret calling the two of them together. She clarifies that Marin and Maxon both exchanged punches. The revelation leaves both guardians confused. John insists that it is impossible, describing Marin as a precious child who would not even harm a passing insect. The Emperor adds that Maxon has been faithfully carrying out the etiquette education befitting the imperial family. Efna herself once believed this portrayal when she read the original novel. She acknowledges that it is an age when impulses are difficult to suppress. However, she understands that the larger problem lies elsewhere. If this behavior continues, the two children will struggle to form close bonds with their classmates. The youngest daughter of the High Priest, who is said to be capable of bringing down even a flying bird, and the one and only Prince of the Empire, whom no one dares to treat carelessly, such titles create invisible barriers. No one dares to approach their younger siblings freely. Efna can practically see the tension written across their foreheads. She assures them that she will do her best to guide the children at school, but she emphasizes that she will need their cooperation at home as well. Both men are left utterly confused and speechless. Observing their silence, she inwardly labels them parenting rookies. Compared to other guardians, they resemble gentle beasts rather than fearsome authorities. At times like this, it is important to hold the reins firmly. John promises that he will speak to Marin properly. Efna turns to the Emperor, who replies that he will instruct the Imperial Education Officer regarding the matter. She immediately objects, insisting that he must speak directly with Maxon. The Emperor questions whether she even understands who he is. Efna responds that she does, acknowledging him as the sky of the Empire. He asks whether she understands how much time he has set aside to be present. She sighs and replies that since His Majesty has made the effort to come all the way here, she believes he will devote even greater attention to Maxon. Internally, she braces herself, thinking that if he dislikes her words, he can have her executed. She has already lived through death once, and there is nothing left to fear. The Emperor begins to respond, but Efna wonders whether she has overstepped her bounds. He is still the Emperor, and perhaps she has been too careless. John remarks that she is correct, and suggests that making excuses would make their family appear truly pathetic. Efna silently begs him not to provoke the Emperor further at this moment, especially not with that smug expression that makes him appear equally guilty. Efna then states that the same responsibility applies to John as well. She addresses him as captain of the knights, and asks both of them to speak with their children about their kindergarten life. She reflects that this compulsion to speak her mind is an occupational disease. Even at the risk of being struck down, she must say what needs to be said. It is a desperate struggle not to be swayed during a parent-teacher conference. The two men fall silent once more, appearing deep in thought. Efna considers that this is only natural, as parenting is always the most difficult job in the world. At that moment, the door opens. Marin enters the room. John looks at his little sister and remarks upon her clingy nature, beckoning her to come to him and calling her sweetly. Marin initially rushes toward him, but to his surprise, she turns back and runs to Efna instead, declaring her love for her teacher. Efna hears Marin's heartfelt declaration of love and immediately begins to blush. Her composure wavers for a moment as the child looks up at her with innocent concern. Marin anxiously asks whether her brother is going to be scolded because of her actions. Efna finds herself thinking that Marin is unbearably cute. She gently assures the little girl that no one is being scolded, and that she was merely telling the guardians what a good and honest child Marin is. At that very moment, Maxon also rushes in, calling out that Marin should not barge into the room so recklessly. He halts abruptly when he notices that the Emperor is present. The Emperor questions Maxon's rudeness toward his classmate. Maxon quickly retreats and hides behind Efna, apologizing in a small voice. Maxon points out that it seems Maxon is the one in trouble now. Efna tells both children that they must not enter during a counseling session. With that, the meeting for the day effectively comes to an end. The children's sudden entrance shatters the tension in the room, and the mighty Knight Commander has just been brushed off by his own little sister. Efna announces that they will conclude today's session, as the children appear to have grown tired of waiting. As everyone begins to disperse, Efna informs the Emperor that she has something she wishes to discuss with him privately. He asks what it concerns. She cannot help but notice how extraordinarily tall he is. Meanwhile, Marin pulls Maxon along, reminding him that the teacher told them to leave. Efna gathers her courage and turns back to the Emperor, intending to speak. However, he steps closer, and she instinctively steps backward. He continues advancing slightly, causing her to retreat, until she blurts out that he is standing a little too close. In her flustered movement, her hand accidentally presses against his chest. She gasps in shock, unable to believe that she has just touched the Emperor's chest. The Emperor calmly remarks that the shelf behind her is old and appears as though it might collapse, explaining that he was merely checking it and will call someone to repair it. He asks whether something is wrong. Efna immediately denies it, clearing her throat in embarrassment. She explains that she hesitated to bring this up, but the matter she wishes to discuss concerns how they address each other. He wonders whether she is referring to the manner in which she and he speak to one another. She confirms that she is. She explains that the most important aspect of education is establishing a proper relationship between guardian and teacher. To achieve that, she asks him to repeat after her. She instructs him to say, "Miss Teacher." He responds with simply "Teacher." She insists that he saying "Miss" as well is not difficult. He again calls her "Teacher." She continues to press the matter until, at last, he relents and says, "Miss Teacher." Efna claps her hands in satisfaction and declares that from now on, when he is at the kindergarten, he must address her properly in that manner. She adds that there is something even more important. Even if one feels slightly intimidated, one must push forward. Mutual formal address is essential, especially in front of the children. He must not use informal speech at the kindergarten. Having little choice, the Emperor states that he understands. Efna finally feels somewhat at ease. He then remarks that, in that case, may he say what he originally intended. She grants him permission, internally marveling at how adept he is at speaking formally, and wondering why he had been so stubborn earlier. He asks her to visit the imperial palace sometime. She is taken aback when he suggests that she consider it a home visit. She wonders if he is truly inviting her personally. The thought crosses her mind that this resembles the romance fantasy version of a "would you like to come up for coffee" advance. Advances from a parent are, of course, unacceptable. She promptly states that she cannot have private meetings with a student's guardian. He replies that this is the first time he has encountered a teacher who considers a home visit to be a private meeting. Efna asks whether there is a particular reason he requires such a visit. He pauses thoughtfully before stepping closer again. He gently brushes aside a strand of her hair and explains that he needs to speak with her alone. There are many things he wishes to find out, and there are far too many listening ears in the current setting. Primarily matters concerning Maxon, of course, though he is also curious about several things regarding her. He casually mentions that she had a small piece of confetti stuck near her ear. Efna responds with mild embarrassment, thanking him. He states that he will assume she understands his intentions and that he will take his leave. He bids her farewell, deliberately addressing her as Miss Teacher. As he walks away, Efna wonders why he stood so close and what exactly he wants to know about her. 5 years earlier, whispers circulate among the servants. One maid mentions that she heard the master intends to add Lady Lillian to the family register. Another responds that Lady Lillian is merely the daughter of a mistress and has only been at the mansion for a month. The first maid insists that it is not about her status but about her talent, the one thing Lady Efna could never possess, even if the heavens split open. The second maid scoffs at the idea that someone could be considered disturbed for lacking talent. Yet she claims that in every respect, Lady Lillian surpasses Lady Efna. As they speak, they suddenly notice Efna standing behind them, pale and silent like a ghost. Efna asks what it truly means to be like a Windister. She asks because she genuinely does not understand. The uncertainty gnaws at her mind, and she feels she might lose her sanity if she does not find out. One maid dismisses her, asking what nonsense she is muttering and telling her to go inside instead of being annoying. Efna reflects that, judging by their tone, although she bears the title of lady, she is treated like a stray dog fighting over scraps. One maid mutters that something must be wrong with her and wonders whether she ate something spoiled. Efna begins to suspect that perhaps it is because she lacks the talent they were discussing. She realizes she has truly become trapped in the wrong web novel this time. However, she informs them calmly that she possesses a rather serious occupational hazard. Whenever she encounters a rude child, she simply cannot ignore it. With a firm expression, she asks which one of them would like to be the first to sit in the thinking chair. The Winchester Count family, especially all the bloodlines of this family, is known for producing children born with outstanding talent. In every generation, someone emerges with a beautiful voice, someone else possesses excellent physical ability, and another displays a remarkable knack for business. Each of them stands out in various fields. Even though the Winchester Count family does not have a long and ancient history, It is through these extraordinary talents that they are able to secure their place among the central nobility. However, for the first time in the family's history, a child without any talent is born, and that child is Efna. This existence makes her seem like a mistake. After all, she has managed to reduce her original story to that of the Wind Esther family, yet at this moment it is still before the main characters are even born. She is the so-called talentless Efna, a 17-year-old girl, unrelated to the main characters of the original storyline. Someone calls out to Efna, saying that she has been searching everywhere for her. The dazzling child who approaches her is Lillian. Lillian laughs brightly, accompanied by her two equally dazzling yet thoroughly annoying older brothers. Efna asks Lillian what the matter is. Lillian excitedly explains that they should go out to eat together because their father has said he will buy them something delicious. Efna wonders why this sudden kindness appears now, when until this moment, he has only ever given her leftover food. Lillian then suggests inviting Efna's fiancé, the Marquis, as well. Efna calmly informs Lillian that he has gone down to his territory the previous day. This information makes Lillian visibly startled, and she begins to think deeply, which causes Efna to notice that Lillian seems somewhat disappointed. One of her older brothers scolds Efna, saying that she should have covered up that matter, and questions whether she truly needed to state it so bluntly. Lillian, confused, asks what he is talking about. He responds gravely that he had intended to endure the embarrassment and take her along, but she is now irritating him. Efna wonders what kind of nonsense this is. It is clearly anger vented without reason, yet no one points it out. The entire situation feels like a disaster about to unfold. Efna asks why she should cover for her own fiancé. Her brother grabs her arm and demands to know whether she has lost her mind and whether she is truly talking back at this moment. Suddenly, their father appears and commands that there be enough of this, not in front of the servants. Her father turns to Efna. She responds respectfully, yet in the next instant he strikes her sharply across the cheek. She cannot believe that he slaps her over something so trivial. Her father declares that since she has no talent, she should live as though she were dead. Unlike her, Lillian has manifested yet another talent. On her very first attempt at shooting, she has hit 6 out of 10 targets. This achievement proves that Lillian possesses the same talent as the first Count Wind Esther. Today's outing is meant to celebrate that accomplishment. On a day when everyone should be rejoicing, he accuses Efna of daring to ruin his daughter's mood. Efna thinks bitterly that she too is his daughter. She wonders what she is to him, or rather, what Efna represents in his eyes. She knows she should argue and grow angry, yet her body refuses to move, as though it has been conditioned to submission. Lillian approaches their father and gently assures him that there is no need to worry, that Efna will be fine. She suggests that they leave her sister to rest and hurry along because she is hungry. Their father agrees and announces that today they will do everything Lillian desires. After their meal, they will even go dress shopping. Efna remains standing there, stunned. In this house, she is lower than a bug. The next day, she is in the garden. She thinks that at least here, no one will bother her. Unlike her room, the garden does not smell foul or leak water from the ceiling. She wonders whether smashing something might make her feel better. Then she notices a gun resting on a table and considers whether she should try shooting it once. She picks up the gun and pulls the trigger. The recoil is stronger than she expects. To her surprise, she hits directly in the center of the target. She wonders whether it is merely luck. Nevertheless, she feels slightly better. The second shot sounds louder than she anticipates. If she is caught, she knows she will be struck again, so she decides she should hurry back inside. At the Marquis' residence, Efna is working. She steps outside briefly and wonders what day it is. It is already the 20th night. Time seems to fly endlessly. She spends her days attending lessons meant to make her more proper, and her nights buried in paperwork. At this point, it feels as though she is being used as nothing more than a servant. She decides to at least get some fresh air. As she walks, she hears voices and recognizes that they are coming from her fiancé and Peck's room. When she looks, she sees Lillian inside with her fiancé. Lillian gently tells him to stop, saying that her lips will become chapped. Her fiancé apologizes to Lillian, explaining that she is so beautiful that he cannot restrain himself. Efna stands there, realizing that the man inside is her fiancé, and the woman with him is Lillian. She wonders why on earth they are together. Lillian asks him whether she is even prettier than Efna. He replies that his engagement to that gloomy woman is merely a means to secure his marriage. He leans close to Lillian once more and whispers that his engagement to Efna is nothing more than a means to marry Lillian in the end. Lillian responds that even so, it is difficult for her to endure. She admits that she grows jealous. She remarks that the daughter of the main wife, having no talent at all, is pitiful and pathetic, yet at least Efna is decent at paperwork, and she should cling to that, since she possesses no other talent. Hearing every word, Efna's hand trembles. The candle slips from her grasp and falls to the floor. Startled by the sound, she turns and rushes away. She keeps running without direction. Her head spins violently, and nausea rises in her throat. She feels as though she is about to vomit, yet her stomach is empty, and nothing comes out. The pain intensifies, sharp and unbearable. She wonders how she has endured all of this for so long. Through her blurred vision, she notices someone approaching, calling out to her. A man shouts for her to move, warning that a horse is charging forward. Before she can react, the horse crashes into her. The impact sends her body flying, and darkness swallows her consciousness. After some time, she opens her eyes again. She finds herself lying in her own room. A maid stands beside her bed, looking both frightened and irritated. The maid exclaims that Efna has scared her and demands to know what happened. She adds sharply that since Efna is awake, she should stop collapsing all the time, because it is nothing but an annoyance. Efna slowly looks around. This is indeed her room. She is certain that she was struck by a horse. She asks the maid what day it is. The maid snaps that she cannot even keep track of the days anymore and informs her that it is the 4th day of the imperial calendar. Efna's mind freezes at the date. While she is still processing this, someone enters the room. It is her fiancé, Haldness. He approaches her bedside and asks whether she is all right, explaining that she suddenly collapsed and he was worried. Efna immediately asks him why he is here. Haldness looks confused and asks what she means by that, reminding her that they just had a meal together earlier that day. Efna's thoughts race. If this man has come to the country estate, then it truly must be the 4th of the imperial calendar. That means she has returned to the time before her death. She attempts to gather her thoughts, but Haldness continues speaking endlessly. Finally, she calls out to him and tells him to leave. She states that he is too noisy, and that hearing his voice makes her feel as though she is growing dumber by the second. Haldness is utterly taken aback. He stammers that she must be in pain and says he will leave and send her a letter instead. Efna lowers her gaze. If this situation is not a dream, then there is only one thing she needs to do. The scene shifts to a group of maids whispering among themselves. They murmur that Lady Efna has apparently gone crazy again. One of them remarks that it is frightening and wonders whether she could live quietly for once. Efna suddenly appears before them and asks whether they do not have work to do. She orders them to step aside because she needs to speak with her father. One maid informs her that the Count is currently busy and suggests that if it concerns handing over documents, they can deliver them on her behalf. Efna responds only with a cold glare that makes both maids flinch. At that moment, the Count himself emerges and demands to know what all the noise is about. Efna calmly states that his timing is perfect, as it saves her the trouble of going inside. She declares that she will get straight to the point. The scene cuts. Later, as she walks away, someone calls out to her. It is Haldness again. He rushes toward her and grabs her arm, demanding to know what this application for expulsion from the family registry is supposed to mean. He questions whether she is saying such things because she is ill and not in her right mind, insisting that they should return to the Count and seek treatment for her. Efna pulls her hand free and states that she is far more clear-headed than he is at this moment. She adds coldly that grabbing her without permission constitutes harassment. She then informs him that she has something to give him. It is a letter of annulment. She declares that she has no need for a husband like him and presents the document as a gift. Haldness stares at it in confusion and asks what it is supposed to be. She tells him to read it carefully. It is a letter formally annulling their engagement. He demands to know what this means. She explains that it means she is calling off the engagement. At that moment, Lillian arrives, asking what on earth is happening. Efna turns toward her and addresses her mockingly as her pretty little sister. She tells Lillian to take this trash back with her. She declares that her place, her fiancé, and everything she has discarded suit Lillian far better. With that, she leaves. The maids whisper that Efna must truly have gone mad. They question why her fiancé is being handed over to Lady Lillian and wonder whether it is related to the rumor from before. Lillian stands there, her expression dark and furious. Finally, Efna returns to her room. She thinks to herself that she has finally done it. Even so, it is better to escape this wretched house. If she remains any longer, she truly will lose her mind. She decides that she should at least pack her belongings. When she opens her cupboard, however, she discovers that there is no luggage at all. There is only a single notebook. It is a diary. As she reads it, she finds an entry stating that today she is certain she is like the first Count Wind Esther, and that she possesses the same talent as him. Efna frowns. If it is the talent of the first Count Wind Esther, was that not supposed to be Lillian's? After awakening in this body, she has not felt any special ability. Perhaps if she reads further, something will become clear. She continues reading. Out of curiosity, the writer of the diary once fired the gun placed at the shooting range, and all 20 shots struck the center of the target. She secretly played her father's violin and was able to perform a tune she had heard only once, flawlessly. She wished to study, so she stole her brother's textbook on the language of the Cuman kingdom. Although the letters were unfamiliar at first, she soon became able to read them. A talent for languages, a talent for music, a talent for shooting, a talent for business. Efna's heart pounds. Could it be that all of these were the talents the original Efna possessed? The talent had been hers all along. Back in the present, she becomes a member of the Viscounty of Belchester. When she is trembling and running away from her family, it is Viscount Belchester who appears like a savior and takes her in. However, since the family finances are not abundant, she finds employment to be of help at the nearly collapsed DEL kindergarten. Perhaps luck gives her a push like the wind, for as magical engineering advances across the empire, knowledge and skill grow in importance. Even nobles who once considered studying and working to be shameful now begin to devote themselves to education. The academy, once merely a social venue for nobles, becomes a trusted institution of learning, and kindergartens, which are responsible for early education, gain enormous attention as well. 2 years later, a kindergarten boom sweeps across the empire, and at its center stands Efna. Someone calls out to her and apologizes for catching her on her way to work, asking whether she could attend the charity masquerade ball that evening. Efna replies that she can attend, though she worries that someone might recognize her. The old lady tells her that if that is her concern, she is right to think so, and if it troubles her, she need not worry, since it is their own masquerade. Efna immediately responds that there is no problem, and that she will go to the masquerade ball. Perhaps because she always calculates so carefully and counts so much, she truly cannot bring herself to refuse. After working overtime, she thinks the party is indeed boring. When she returns home, she still has to complete today's report and prepare this month's event schedule. As she stands there, she suddenly hears someone calling out sharply, insisting that if they have stepped on someone's shoes, they should apologize. A small boy protests that he did not step on anyone, while another tells him not to dare talk back. Efna notices that several children are ganging up on a smaller one. One of the children in the group demands whether the small boy knows who he is. The small boy replies that he does not. This answer makes the other child angry, and he attempts to strike the smaller boy, declaring that he dares to talk back. Seeing this, Efna grows truly worried. At this rate, they will become violent. She is about to step in when a lady beside her advises her not to interfere and to remain still like everyone else. The lady explains that the 3 children are from central noble houses. It is pitiful for the smaller child to be bullied, but nothing can be done. Efna questions what is meant by central nobles, pointing out that they appear to be only about 8 years old. The lady beside her urges her to keep quiet. Even so, Efna steps forward and orders the troublemakers to stop at once. The children turn toward her and question who she is, asking whether she does not know who they are. Among the surrounding nobles, some remark that she is brave, while others say it is not bravery, but stupidity. The larger troublemaker boasts that his father is a marquis and that he will report everything to him. Efna pulls down her mask and tells him to go ahead and inform his father. She declares that it is about time she pays him a visit. At the sight of her face, the children recognize her as their teacher. As Efna's expression darkens, murmurs ripple through the crowd, wondering whether she is the famous kindergarten teacher who is so skilled with children. Efna calls out to the children and asks whether they have not learned to greet their teacher properly, and whether cornering someone like this is what she has taught them. She questions why they are trembling now, and remarks that it must be frightening to be scolded after so long. She calls them little rascals and says she should have known better. Suddenly, someone calls out to Ben. Efna turns and sees a young man approaching. The little boy addresses him as his big brother. The adult asks Ben what is happening. Efna grows worried, realizing that this man is the boy's elder brother. The overwhelming pressure he exudes causes the previously chatty noble brats to fall silent at once. Ben explains that they fought, while the other children tremble and hide behind Efna. She steps forward and greets the man, introducing herself as the children's teacher. She states that it was not a serious fight, and that the parents will be arriving soon. The man remarks coldly that the parents must be crawling over already. Efna thinks inwardly that there are many people present, so surely they will walk rather than crawl. She bows to him and clarifies that it was not a mutual fight, but a one-sided act of bullying. As their teacher, she sincerely apologizes. Addressing the guests, she states that bullying cannot be dismissed as a mere mistake, that this time it is entirely their fault, and that their parents are arriving now. The man notices Marquis Gopin approaching. The Marquis rushes forward and embraces his son. The man coolly observes that the Marquis is a pathetic fool who cannot even control his own child, and that perhaps that is what should be said. The Marquis, both angry and frightened, demands to know what he has just said, whether he has gone insane, whether he knows who he is, and how he dares to speak in such a manner. The man replies that it is enough that he has heard the Marquis's son picked a fight with his little brother, and he questions whether House Gopin teaches its children to start fights they cannot win. At last, he removes his mask. Everyone is visibly stunned, for he is Duke Caden Hildebrand. The Marquis immediately lowers his head and offers a hurried apology. Efna thinks to herself that the arrogant Marquis is bowing his head now, and she reflects that a duke's rank is far above that of a Marquis. Still, she feels that the name Hildebrand sounds familiar. She ponders it for a moment, and then the realization strikes her. She wonders if it truly means that this is the Grand Duchy of Hildebrand. His novel opens with him asking someone whether they are an idiot. He declares that everyone is alive until they die, that it would be more efficient for them to beg to be killed for the sake of others as well, and that their appearance is so unpleasant it becomes boringly terrible. Original readers once called him a tyrant for lines like these, yet now, in the present, he simply calls out to his little brother, saying that he is hungry. Efna immediately recognizes him as the Prince of Terror. The cute child standing nearby is Ben. She cannot help but wonder what on earth happens to him as he grows up. Ben turns toward a lady and then tells his brother that someone has fallen down over there. Caden looks at Ben in question. Ben suggests that they should help her. Caden replies that it is not their problem to solve. Efna thinks to herself that she knows exactly from whom Ben learned such things. She steps forward and asks Caden if she may add something. He asks what it is and allows her to speak. The intimidation he exudes is no joke, yet she forces herself to say what must be said. She explains that he should not leave a child by himself, especially a child of Ben's age, who can easily be drawn to sensational sights and attention. He must be extra careful. Murmurs spread through the crowd, wondering whether she has just admonished the Grand Duke. Since her speech lasts more than 5 lines, some even begin to wonder whether she will be safe after this. The two of them remain silent for a moment. Then Caden smirks faintly and remarks that he will be careful, addressing her as teacher. The next day, Efna thinks that she wishes she had spoken to him more. She had been too indecisive yesterday. She should not have let the original villain's guardian leave like that. At that moment, someone approaches her and says that she has found something while cleaning the library and asks her to take a look. It is written in an Asian language that the girl cannot read. She wonders whether Efna might know it. Efna takes the book and says she will see. The instant her eyes fall upon the script, she recognizes that it is not an ancient language at all. It is Korean. She asks the girl whether she may borrow the book. The girl agrees, asking her to return it before the faculty meeting. Efna immediately begins to run, her mind racing with questions about why such a book is in their library and why it even exists in this world. Finally reaching her office, she stares at the book and wonders what kind of story it contains. The title states that Efna is a villainess. She wonders whether she has read it incorrectly. The text repeats that Efna is a villainess, something no one in this world would ever associate with her, leaving her utterly confused. It declares that Efna is the most evil woman in the world, that she always goes around threatening to kill scientists. In the end, the villainous Efna stands upon the guillotine. Everyone gathers to watch her final moments. For the crime of using black magic, which is strictly forbidden in the Empire, she is sentenced to death. In addition, the Imperial Knights are to be dispatched to the Grand Duchy of Hildebrand for collaborating with her. Efna's thoughts spiral in disbelief. Sentenced to death? For using black magic? And the Grand Duchy as well? Now she remembers the reason behind Ben's corruption. The scene shifts as she stands before Caden. and says that she would like to discuss something with him. She recommends Ben's enrollment in the royal kindergarten. As Caden looks at her, she asks him to review the proposal positively. He examines the documents while she internally begs him to enroll Ben. She has to stop his little brother from becoming the main antagonist and prevent the corruption that stems from Caden's death. Caden states that he refuses. Efna is utterly taken aback. She assures him that their kindergarten is a professional educational institution and that she is confident it will be beneficial to Ben. Caden replies that if it is professional education, Ben is already receiving it. She knows she must intervene somehow. She explains that it is also important for Ben to broaden his perspective by spending time with children his own age. Developing social skills is the foundation of a child's growth. She notices Caden twitch slightly, a sign that her words have elicited a reaction. What could be more concerning than a child's peer relationships? As he begins unbuttoning the top button of his shirt, she blushes, momentarily flustered by the unexpected gesture. Still, she asks whether he will look at the documents once more. If Ben is accepted, he will be assigned to her class. Caden explains that the problem is that Ben is his half-brother. He worries that Ben will be ostracized for being an illegitimate child. Efna reassures him that he need not worry and asks him to look at the last page of the documents. Caden does as she requests and asks what it is. She explains that the children in her class have written letters welcoming Ben. Caden says that he understands but questions whether Ben's name has been changed without his knowledge. The moment she notices the spelling mistake in the name, she feels as though her mind has completely short-circuited. The Guardian remarks that it is indeed quite an impressive letter, and she assures everyone that they will soon be going on their spring field trip. She believes it will be a good experience for Ben as well. She mentions that she has recently heard news about the Grand Duchy, stating that the Duke is putting considerable effort into educating the people of his territory. Garden Snugs responds that she is well informed and confirms that the information is true. At the same time, she cannot help but wonder why he is smiling so scarily, as his expression looks as though it is about to explode. Even the sight of his tightly fastened shirt appears terrifying, as if unbuttoning it would unleash something dreadful. She shifts her gaze and explains that their kindergarten is the Empire's first official early education institution. The Empire is currently investing in early education, regardless of social status. He scoffs at the idea that she even cares about another territory's affairs, questioning whether she is truly implying such a thing. Efna states firmly that they must follow the trend to build a strong educational institution in the Grand Duchy. He needs to understand how kindergartens function, as they will serve as a valuable reference for educating the people of his territory. Garden acknowledges her confidence and asks her to continue explaining the admissions process. Her eyes sparkle at the opportunity, and she immediately agrees with enthusiasm. The scene then shifts to Ben introducing himself to the class. Madding excitedly declares that his name is Park, while Efna gently corrects Marine, indicating that it is something else. Before she can finish, Maxine insists that it is not Park, but Bourne. With no other option, Ben intervenes and clarifies his own name. The children eagerly invite him to sit beside them. Efna directs Ben to sit next to Maxine and gathers everyone's attention, announcing that it is story time. She informs them that today's book is titled The Story of the Arithmetic Knight. As she searches for the book, she discovers a letter from the Imperial Palace. The field trip location has been changed. It will now take place at the Imperial Palace instead of the park. Efna immediately goes to the principal, pointing out that they have already completed the site survey and finalized all the plans for the park visit. However, the principal explains that the Imperial Palace submitted the proposal first, and they cannot refuse such courtesy. Efna protests that this means they will have to redo all the surveys and plans. She turns to the other teacher for support, but the other teacher suddenly remembers that her house is supposedly scheduled to catch fire that day. Efna looks at her in disbelief, stating that she cannot possibly handle the overtime work alone. The other teacher then adds that the slatter living at her house is sick, making it impossible for her to assist. Realizing that everyone appears to be quite busy, Efna reluctantly decides that she will go instead. She cannot believe that during her luxurious holiday, she is forced to take on extra work. She also complains inwardly about how far the Imperial Palace is, especially in a world that does not even have taxis. Suddenly, she notices something nearby. She overhears someone saying that the fare to the temple is 57 fir. John responds that if that is the case, he will place himself in their care. Efna recognizes the man speaking as Marine's brother, the Knight Commander John, who is smiling brightly while the coachman appears to be shaking him down for money. She wonders whether it truly costs that much just to travel to the temple. Finally, she steps forward and proposes a fare of 47 fare instead. The coachman is utterly taken aback. She turns to John, noting the coincidence of meeting him there, and then faces the coachman, questioning whether he truly intends to charge 57 fare for such a trip. The coachman insists that he does. She clears her throat, admitting that she cannot keep her expressions straight, and apologizing, explaining that she becomes angry whenever she sees someone overcharging others. The coachman immediately realizes that this young lady will be troublesome for him. Meanwhile, John remains utterly confused about the concept of overcharging. She scolds the coachman for attempting to overcharge such an innocent person as John. The coachman argues that the distance justifies the price and that it is already cheap. She counters by explaining that she is a local resident and proposes that they cut the price cleanly by 10, settling at 47 fur. This angers him, as he claims that such a price would not even cover the cost of horse feed. The two of them continue arguing intensely, yet she remains stubbornly fixed on 47. The coachman grows increasingly frustrated, unable to comprehend how she refuses to budge even once from that amount. She stands firm and warns that if he continues to insist, she will simply hire another carriage for 45 fir instead. John gently suggests that 10 fare is not such a significant amount, and that she does not need to argue so fiercely. However, she scolds him, pointing out that with that money he could buy Madding 3 of her favorite candies. Faced with her persistence, the coachman finally relents and acknowledges that she is indeed a capable young lady. She remarks that he should have agreed earlier. Turning to John, she informs him that the coachman has accepted 47 fare. John thanks her sincerely, noting that she has protected the value of 3 of Marine's candies. He then asks where she is headed. She replies that she has business at the Imperial Palace. Upon hearing this, John suggests that they travel together, wondering if they should share the carriage. Efna sits inside the carriage, thinking that she feels uncomfortable and that she hates this situation. She wonders if it is because of the lingering memories of being struck in her previous life. Even so, she tells herself that it is still bearable for now. John notices her uneasy expression and asks if she is all right. She replies that she is fine, yet he can clearly see her trembling hands. He gently calls out to her and instructs her to inhale deeply for 3 seconds, and then exhale slowly for 7 seconds. He explains that if her motion sickness is severe, she should try calming it down this way, and he offers to count the seconds for her. She follows his instructions, and gradually she begins to feel slightly better. She thanks John and tells him that she feels much improved now. John explains that when Marin used to suffer from motion sickness, he would soothe her in the same manner. He expresses that he is glad the method works for Efna as well. Efna observes that John is quite a considerate person. She reflects that as the captain of the knights, he must understand the capital better than anyone else. She mentions that she has heard news that a new saint has been chosen. John confirms that it has already been about 4 months since the appointment. Efna immediately inquires about what kind of person the saint is, considering that in her original life, she had attempted to kill her, and therefore she believes she should know more. She understands that she must carefully flatter John, so that she does not appear suspicious, as though she is plotting to assassinate the saint again. She comments that the saint must surely be super kind and beautiful. John replies that the saint is indeed kind to everyone, often smiling warmly, and that she is quite romantic as well. Efna responds with admiration, saying that it is exactly as expected, and that the saint must be an amazing person. She adds that the work of a saint must be very difficult and truly admirable. Suddenly, the carriage is struck by a stone. The impact immediately makes Efna go numb. She begins to gasp, tremble, and cry uncontrollably, while John calls out to her in alarm. He leans closer, calling her name and asking if she is truly all right. She apologizes and explains that her motion sickness in a carriage can be quite severe. However, the more the carriage moves irregularly, the more violently she trembles. John urges her to take deep breaths again, repeating the pattern of inhale and exhale just as before. As he continues to guide her, he notices that she is clutching his hand tightly while trembling and crying. He remains seated beside her, silently observing her distress while allowing her to hold on to him. Eventually, they arrive at the Imperial Palace, and the coachman asks them to disembark. Efna looks out of the window and informs John that they have arrived. She thanks him sincerely. However, the moment she notices that they are still holding hands, she immediately jumps out of the carriage in embarrassment. She apologizes profusely, asking for forgiveness and stating that she has been rude and committed a discourtesy. John reassures her that it is all right and tells her not to worry. He reminds her that she also has business at the Imperial Palace and assures her that he is perfectly fine, encouraging her to proceed inside. She nervously tells him that if his hand has been hurt, he should be sure to file a claim. John responds lightly that he will charge it with interest as well. At that moment, someone approaches her and announces her arrival. The man introduces himself as Viscount Hu Pen, assigned to guide her through the inspection schedule. There is a bittersweet undertone as she thanks him for working so hard even during a holiday. The Viscount humbly replies that she herself is working diligently as well. Ethna requests that they first examine the rest area, explaining that it is the most important place for the children. He agrees and leads her to a garden space with no high steps or sharp decorations, stating that it would be perfect for young children. She observes that they only need to clear away some scattered stones. The Viscount continues the inspection, pointing out a greenhouse filled with many rare plants which would be excellent for educational purposes. Ethna asks if she may look around more slowly. He replies that his duty was simply to guide her this far and hands her the entry permit, encouraging her to explore at her leisure. She congratulates him on completing his duty, but he clarifies that he still has other responsibilities to attend to. Ethna realizes that this area is the detached palace, commonly used for social gatherings. The entry permit allows her access only up to this point. She notices the fountain and thinks that it could be dangerous, meaning she would need to keep the children away from it, though she is certain they would love it if they saw it. Suddenly, someone calls out to her again. When she turns around, she sees Haldness, her former fiancé. The scene shifts elsewhere to a man begging desperately to be spared. John asks about the saint, and he is informed that she has gone out. He remarks that she has likely gone to write another romance novel. He then wonders aloud what should be done with the captive. The man pleads that he knows nothing and begs for mercy. John calmly orders his subordinates to drag the man away and dispose of him. As the man is dragged off, he continues shouting for his life to be spared. John reflects that seeing nothing but trash like this every single day feels strange. As he looks down at his own hand, he realizes that the lingering sensation from earlier feels unexpectedly pleasant to him. She tells herself not to panic when Haldness asks Ethna what is wrong with her face and whether it is really her. He says that the Marquis household is in trouble, so she guesses that it must be true. She answers that yes, it is really her. She tells him to wipe that stupid look off his face. He leans closer and asks where on earth she has been. Does she know how long he has been searching for her? 5 years. Ethna firmly tells him that is enough and orders him not to come any closer. This only makes him angrier. How can she act so nonchalant after storming out of the house like that? Whatever the case, he says they are going home, and she had better go back to the Count. Ethna tells herself to calm down, count to 3, and run. Look at those stupid eyes. He is about to pull something. 1, 2, 3. She turns to leave, but then she hears Lillian calling out to her. Lillian approaches, wearing temple clothes. She greets Ethna and says it has been a while, asking how she has been. Ethna replies that yes, it has been a long time. However, before she can continue, Lillian walks past her and goes straight to Haldness. Ethna feels irritated that Lillian so naturally ignores her. Lillian tells Haldness that she went through the trouble of leaving the temple to see him, and yet he walked away without a word. Hearing the word temple, Ethna suddenly notices the dress and the crest. Why is she wearing clothes from the temple? Lillian explains that she has been busy during the saint purification, the adjustment period for the new saint. Ethna wonders if it could be true. Is Lillian the saint? Lillian turns to Ethna and says she is surprised that Ethna did not know she was chosen as the new saint. It is such an honor. Ethna congratulates her, but her mind is in chaos. If Lillian is the saint, then in the original story Ethna tried to kill her half-sister. She needs to sort this out. Haldness asks Lillian to step aside and grabs Ethna, demanding to know if she understands how much trouble he was in after she disappeared. Ethna tells him to let go, but he insists that she is being irresponsibly reckless. She coldly replies that this is harassment. Does he want to stand trial in the noble court? He scoffs. He is her fiancé. Does she really think that counts as harassment? A voice interrupts, saying that it does. North steps forward and pulls Haldness' hand away from her. He adds that it counts even more since he and Ethna have already broken up. The Marquis, refreshed after napping through the noble council, now flaunts his strength openly. Haldness demands to know why His Majesty is here. North replies that although the saint should be busiest at this time, she seems rather free. Is the temple running things so poorly? Lillian politely asks him to forgive her rudeness. They only acted that way because they were reunited with their precious sister. The word precious makes North scoff. He states that Efna is a precious existence to him as well. Efna is stunned. She cannot believe that a guardian truly treasures her. North continues, saying that just to see her, he had to beg and stumble about like crazy. Haldnes argues that he had business with Efna first, and that he will be taking her with him. North tells him to make his case loud and clear. Efna trembles slightly and says that she is with North. What was that? North asks, leaning closer. Her voice is too soft. He cannot hear it. Haldnes glares but eventually mutters, "Never mind." North smiles, satisfied, and says that since nothing is wrong, they should be off. They have an important prior engagement. Efna blinks. Engagement? North asks if she has already forgotten what they promised to do together. She tries to remember, then suddenly recalls the home visit. He says he cannot believe she actually forgot. She insists that she really should be going back now. North glances at the sky. The sun is still high and bright. Why must she leave so soon? Internally, she wonders if he expects her to waste more of her precious weekend daylight. He gives her a look with puppy-like eyes and asks if she really has to go. Looking at him like that, she sighs and says no. She is truly delighted to keep their appointment. North chuckles, saying that judging from her laugh, she seems very delighted. She replies, "Of course, absolutely." Behind them, Haldnes shouts that if she insists on acting this way, he will tell Count Wind Easter. Efna replies calmly that he can go ahead and tell her father. He may run along and complain to the Count. Does he really think her father will help bail out his ruined business? With that, she turns away and thanks North. As they walk, she congratulates Lillian once more on becoming the saint and sincerely wishes her blessings, especially for Haldnes.